Orleans, Louisiana. It's known for its culture, its art, its community, but it's also known for survival.
If you've ever been around people that have had cancer and had chemo, they have big comfy chairs like this because frankly when you're taking chemo, you're not doing a whole lot else. You have to rest, and the fatigue gets to you, the chemo gets to you, the illness gets to you, everything gets to you.
This is Larry Canada. He's an attorney, a husband, a father, an athlete at Iron Tribe, and a survivor.
They had noticed a lump that had not gone down for like 3 months and continued to get bigger. That was actually the first time I was diagnosed with cancer. That was 1970. I was 13 years old.
Larry attended the University of Alabama, where he met his wife, Cynthia. They would later go on to move to New Orleans. Larry was also an athlete. He competed and taught several martial arts, but all of that was about to change.
And I was age 54, still competing in Judo in regional tournaments. Started experiencing some issues with swallowing. The doctor gave me a preliminary diagnosis of cancer at that point.
We got the diagnosis that Larry had esophageal cancer in the spring of 2010, and that was only 5 years after we had come back to New Orleans after Katrina. So we were still living in a neighborhood that was in recovery mode, and life as we knew it was not the same as it had been before anyway. I didn't know anything about esophageal cancer, but I knew from the reaction of the doctors that it was bad.
I met Larry before he ever even joined Iron Tribe. We go to the same church. We go to Edgewater Baptist Church on Paris Avenue.
I remember the day very vividly that Larry called me and said, I need to share something with you. I've been diagnosed with cancer, and that treatment was going to be really difficult, and that they weren't necessarily holding out a lot of promise at this point. But even in the midst of that, there was this resolve in Larry that things were going to be okay. And he even defined what it meant that things were going to be okay. I think so many times when we think it's going to be okay, that means it's all going to work out the way we want it to work out. But instead, he's saying it's going to be okay because God's in control.
I remember asking her, do I have a chance? And she told me, well, sure, you got a chance, and started going into all of these percentages and what percentage of people survive and live for a year or 2 years. And I said, no, just, if I'm going to go through all this, if I've got any chance, even if it's less than 1%, I want to take it. I went through 6 weeks of chemo, 6 weeks of radiation. August the 13th of 2010, Friday the 13th, is when my surgery was done. It was about 8.5 hours worth of surgery, and that's when they took out most of my stomach and most of my esophagus and reattached it about right here. I was all skin and bones, no muscle. It was to the point that after my surgery, if I wanted a water out of a water bottle, I had to get my wife to take the top off. Going from someone who was working out with guys much my junior, and go to a point where you can't even take the top off of a water bottle by yourself. It's not fun. There was a picture. It's a crane eating a frog, and the frog is choking the neck of the crane. And the caption generally is never give up. And that has always been kind of a motto, never give up, never surrender.
But in order for Larry to succeed, he needed to find a community.
Well, I wasn't about to either give up or surrender to either cancer or recovery afterwards if I survived. I was still weak. I had gone to private trainers. I had done a lot of different things. Tried to work out on my own, which didn't work out very well. After talking to some people in my church, led me to Iron Tribe.
You could tell that he wasn't really in his element, and he never gave up. He was always trying.
It's just been amazing to see his transformation from the first day that he started until where he is now.
I'm not unique. Some people might think that I am, but I'm just another one of the members of the tribe. I think that's what attracts me to these people. You know, there are former pro athletes there. There are other old people like me, but we're all doing it together. And I do have some goals. I want to do a strict pull-up before the end of July, and I want to do a muscle-up before the end of the year. I'm going to eventually do it. I want to do it within those time periods, but you know, if I don't, I'll just keep trying, just like everybody else downtown New Orleans Iron Tribe.